Welcome to my particular driver rating dilemma. In the last video, I said that the background of what I was saying I would allude to some, but not actually have it directly correlate. Well, I was planning on doing what this video is about in that video, but that video is actually already kind of long, so I figured I'd just go ahead and make it 2 videos. But pretty much to sum up what I meant by the background from the last video, is the racing that I do. That particular race was a situation in which I race something that I'm really good at and therefore get the pole in. Usually with those races, if nobody tries to dive bomb or no other bad things happen, I win those. And then my driver rating will go up. Yay, that's how it should be. And then let's say I win 4 races in a row, which is exactly what happened during the last race I sold. The BB Speedway Group 3 race. I won 4 out of the 4 races I did on that particular day, and that was a daily race B. Again, as I said in the last video, A and B, the aliens don't really show up quite as much. So I gained a whopping 200 driver rating points, which got me from about 65,800 to pretty much 66,000 even. And then the next race was the race that I specialtated most recently. The race with Turismo Lester, aka the alien with the perfect driver rating. I lost to that driver who was clearly faster, had a faster time and a higher driver rating by about 1 car length. I even had times where I was in the lead that race. I still lost driver rating. I actually lost driver rating at that point to where I only had a net gain of about 160 points for an entire day. The day before, I finished second in a daily race. I think it was like B, I can't even remember the exact specifics for it, but it wasn't against the alien, and I lost about 200 driver rating points, finishing second, and still pretty good overall class, but not, I think I had lost to like an A. There wasn't any other A+. So aka, in 6 races over a span of 3 days, probably only about 48 hours for where I did that one race at 3 a.m., but 3 days of races, 6 races, I got 4 wins and 2 second place finishes. I had a net loss of about 40 driver rating, winning 2/3 of the races and only finishing second in the other. On average, I've won about 63% of the races I'm in, so 2/3 is slightly over that average, and it's not like I did bad in the other races in which I didn't win. My driver rating still went down. And I don't actually do that many race C, and I pretty much only do the manufacturer Nations Cup races in which I'm good at. Overall, I've dropped, since I quit caring as much about the driver rating, 4,000 points, which I did mention somewhat in the last video. The main reason I'm doing my own predicament with driver and sportsmanship rating is because, or I guess mainly driver rating, sportsmanship rating again, different video, I'm not going to focus as much on that. But mainly driver rating, which somewhat can correlate to sportsmanship rating, is because this could actually affect a lot of people, really. I guarantee I'm not the only one who avoids the longer races. Either they don't have time to do it, they're not as good with the faster cars, whatever it may be. For me, it's more that I'm not as good with the faster cars, but whatever the reason is, I know I'm not the only one doing it. And I've pretty much gotten to a point of I cannot physically gain overall driver rating. I can gain it in a race or 2, but ultimately, if nothing bad happens whatsoever, and I just get paired with a driver that's faster, I lose driver rating. There's nothing I can do about it, really. I lose against quite literally a perfect driver rating, I still lose driver rating. Again, this is just my situation and my predicament, but I doubt I'm the only one getting it. As I said in the last video, generally, driver rating is positive, and there is ways in which you can make your own that much more positive, which can be a good thing, because let's say IOF Racing, for an example, gets wrecked by somebody, loses 10 sportsmanship rating, because that's how it is, and also 2,000 driver rating. Somebody like that probably has perfect driver rating, so that's probably a pretty good estimate of what would happen if they get wrecked and, say, finish 15th in a field of 20. That's a situation in which resetting a driver rating is probably a good thing, because that driver doesn't deserve to miss something just because someone else ruined their race. But with my predicament, I kind of inadvertently got mine reset, but as of now, the reset is worth, well, up to 20,000 points. My particular one was about 11,000, but still, now, I'm not going to say it's downright impossible to overall gain driver rating, because obviously there are people with perfect driver rating. But I will say it's pretty much impossible with race A and B. I did a video quite a while back where I was saying how to be a fair weather S-Class driver and pretty much just do the races that you're absolutely best at. But apparently, now I've figured out that there's a limit to that. If your best races are these, aka like daily race A or B, then you can't really get super high in the S-Class unless you get a lucky reset or try it and get it. As of now, I bet if I didn't get that reset, I would probably be at about 57,000 driver rating points. Y'all can take that as you may of how much I deserve, but I will say this. I have about 110th in the world, and it varies. Sometimes on a string of good races, I can get it in the top 100. There's been times where I have been in the top 100. But anyway, as of now, my driver rating is about 200, and that's with the reset. Do y'all think it's that good of a ratio to be about 100th in wins and then about 200th in driver rating, which should correlate directly with wins? It could be a lot worse if I didn't get lucky and get the reset. I would say about 57,000 driver rating points would be about 500th in the world. Maybe even lower by now. It was about 500th or so when I was there last, so probably by now it is lower, because that many people either have gotten a reset or just have gotten better since then. So, to pretty much sum up my predicament is, I'm kind of stuck. I mean, obviously I can try to improve with faster cars, but I think with those to an extent, it's also just talent level. There's only so much practice you can do with cars that you can't really do as consistently. I don't think anyone can deny, no matter who you are, you can drive a car like this, being the Toyota GT86, a lot more consistently than you can drive a Group 1 car, no matter who you are. I think that's a truism. So I bet I could practice as much as I want, but I would always lose driver rating in a race C, or 90% of the manufacturer nations go. Occasionally I get something like karts, or I get something at BB Speedway where I can hold my own, but very rarely there. So, I'm guarantee I would lose in the longer races, and I probably lose here. So again, I'm not really caring all that much, because I know I'm not going to any events, but I also know I can make the general times to get the awards, meaning I'm confident in my own abilities and stuff, like get the gold and whatever, if I events are coming up and get like the most money and maybe cars or even ticket system, which I've discussed in another video, whatever may be coming in the future. But I also know, even at my absolute best, even if I wasn't in this situation, I still wouldn't be making the tournament or anything. So I'm not actually too worried about not caring, but again, I guarantee I'm not the only one with this version of predicament. There's probably people out there who are just barely on the cut line of talent level to actually get to higher ranking events, aka the actual tournaments, and then there's people lower who are just barely on the cut line to actually get the awards, like golden event or whatever, who need to have as high of a driver rating as possible to have a chance to get those. I'm kind of in the middle, but I bet the same predicament probably applies to a multitude of different situations. So I really don't know what could be done about this, but nonetheless, this is this, and this is just how it is, I guess. I knew from the beginning I was never going to get 75,000 driver rating points. I never figured I'd get the 72,000 I was at for a little while. But I also figured I could gradually sort of gain, or at least stay the same with driver rating points. Now about all I can do is net loss. It's a gradual net loss, but still. That's just how it is, and there ain't much that can be done about it, and I doubt I'm the only one who's having that happen. I really have no solution to this other than continuous resetting, but everyone can do that now and knows how. So, is that even going to get you anywhere? Probably not for long if it does, and it's kind of a risky thing to do at all. So, I guess this ain't worth yeehaw, but I guess it is for the people who ain't in this situation who can benefit from those who are.